gratitude for students.
How to practice gratitude with students. So practicing and expressing gratitude is generally understood to be good. But how do we engage students in gratitude practices in a meaningful way? After all, research shows that gratitude needs to be genuine to lead to greater benefits. Research is still underway to determine the best ways to authentically practice gratitude with young people in classrooms. How gratitude is practiced matters, and gratitude researchers have some suggestions for making gratitude practices more meaningful and impactful. One is to have teachers deliver the gratitude interventions, as opposed to an outside facilitator. Gratitude activities should be novel and varied to engage students authentically. Including expressing gratitude to others is particularly potent for some cultures. Take advantage of familiar modern advancements, such as social media use. And autonomy and competence allow students to choose and maybe even come up with their own practices that they find personally meaningful. And connectedness. Gratitude is ultimately about social connection, so doing practices as a class with the intention to increase classroom belonging and mutual respect and care can enhance the benefits of practices that would otherwise be done individually. Gratitude journals are almost part of our vernacular now, but are not the only way to practice gratitude, although they can certainly be a useful one for many people. We are going to share a variety of other kinds of gratitude practices in this video. We invite you to take note of the ones that really resonate for you and that align with the cultures of your students, and create a menu of practices students can choose from. First, find out what gratitude means to your students. Given the cultural and individual nuances of gratitude, what it means and how it is expressed, when introducing gratitude, it is nice to take stock of your students' own understandings of the concept before diving into practices. You can use the set of PowerPoint slides we've created, which are linked after the video, to facilitate a discussion with your students before introducing practices. You might even ask them how they would like to practice gratitude, which honors their voice and autonomy. This may help you decide which practices would be most appropriate for your classroom. For some practices to explore gratitude with your students, see the links here on the slide and after the video. In conversations about gratitude, it is essential to be mindful that some children may be living with significant challenges. These may include illness, family stress, the loss of a loved one, abuse, neglect, exposure to violence, discrimination, and economic hardship. Children who receive adult support from their home, school, or community in dealing with these challenges may have a heightened sense of gratitude for all that is in their environment that enables them to cope. On the other hand, children with fewer support systems may find it difficult to identify life events they feel grateful for. Gratitude cannot be imposed from the outside. Suggesting that children look on the bright side in the face of personal struggle, community suffering, and/or systemic inequities would be very dismissive. Froh and Bono, leaders in gratitude research, suggest that an appropriate response to children to whom high levels of stress makes the experience of gratitude challenging is to listen deeply, empathize, and acknowledge their feelings. An example might be to say, "That sounds really difficult. I can see why you are feeling like it can be hard to think of something to be grateful for." Allowing children to be seen and heard, even when they are distressed, lets them know that their feelings are valid. By helping them understand and express their emotions, teachers can contribute to building children's resilience, as well as their capacity to understand and acknowledge the feelings of others, which is essential to gratitude. We are much more likely to notice the positive things in our life, or when someone does something kind for us, when we have slowed down and are present. Try to find moments to invite students to draw attention to their senses or take a mindful walk. This can help to focus their attention on the present moment, suspend judgment, and regulate stress, all of which make it easier to experience gratitude. In fact, studies have found that mindfulness and gratitude are mutually beneficial to each other. Practicing one makes the other easier to experience. For a practice that integrates gratitude and optimism, you can try out 3 good things. This is a great practice for young people and adults alike, and it's simple. Invite students to write down 3 good things that happened to them each day and the things that contributed to these good things every night before they go to sleep for 1 or 2 weeks. Not only is this a gratitude practice, but it's a practice that can help train the brain toward positivity, away from the human tendency to focus on all the things that went wrong each day. And research shows we can indeed retrain our brains towards positivity. For a practice that promotes body positivity and gratitude toward our physical bodies, you can try a mindful body scan with students. This practice involves noticing and appreciating what our bodies do for us, like your lungs giving you oxygen, or legs letting you play tag or participate in a track meet. This is a great practice to integrate into a biology or science lesson. It can also be adapted to be inclusive of children with physical disabilities. For step-by-step instruction for doing this practice with pre-K and lower elementary students, see Appreciating Our Bodies, a Body Scan with Gratitude, linked on the slide and after the video. Note that this practice has been developed for younger students. Older students may be self-conscious about drawing attention to their bodies publicly, but private reflections on what their physical bodies do for them may be a beneficial exercise for combating body image issues, especially among adolescents. Roy T. Bennett once said, "Being grateful does not mean that everything is necessarily good. It just means that you can accept it as a gift." Similar sentiments come from many traditions and religions, in that suffering can be thought of as a gift. Where do you build the most compassion and resilience, but from struggle? To tap into this notion that gratitude doesn't always have to be about positive things, a beneficial exercise for middle school students and up is flipping complaints into gratitude statements, an accessible form of positive reframing for young people. This practice involves having students write out a list of complaints they've had recently, writing these complaints on cue cards, exchanging the cards with a partner, and flipping the complaint into a gratitude statement on the other side of the card. For example, a complaint might be, "I'm so annoyed I have another assignment that is due this week." And a gratitude statement could be, "I'm grateful for the opportunity to learn, practice, and improve my skills." As we mentioned earlier in the video, it is important not to trivialize true challenges students are facing and to approach this from a place of compassion and with a trauma-informed lens. For a practice that integrates the well-known benefits of exposure to nature and getting outside, with mindfulness, physical exercise, and gratitude, try out a gratitude nature walk with your students. While on a nature walk, invite students to take notice of 3 things they are grateful for in nature. Encourage them to use all their senses. They can bring something small to write on, like a notepad or sticky notes. When you return to the classroom, take the opportunity to invite students to share 1 or more things they are grateful for. For full instructions for a gratitude nature walk, as well as an art extension to this practice, see the link below and after the video. Similar to the nature walk, you can also go for a walk around your school and invite students to take note of people or things they are grateful for. You can invite students to write gratitude cards for individual people or work together to create a group expression of gratitude, like a poster board that can go up in the school, expressing gratitude to a variety of people or things. For full instructions, visit Looking for Gratitude in School, linked below and after the video. Gratitude journals have long been suggested as a good practice for young people and adults alike. There is evidence of the positive benefits of reflecting on things you are grateful for at the end of each day. Gratitude letters, writing cards or letters expressing gratitude to others, and actually delivering these tokens to your benefactors, is a practice that has significant evidence of effectiveness for young people in Western cultures, and growing evidence of its differential effects across cultures. Both acknowledging and expressing gratitude to others, especially publicly, can come with guilt and indebtedness in some cultures. Fortunately, there is some evidence that just writing the letter, and not delivering it still provides positive benefits. As an alternative, invite students to write a more broad gratitude poem to the world, something for their own reflection that doesn't need to be shared with anyone, or an anonymous gratitude chain or wall in your classroom that students can add to throughout the year. For examples of these practices and more, see the links below and after the video. Gratitude practices also have the potential to expand students' awareness of global issues. For example, the practice Gratitude for Our Food asks students to think about all the people and processes involved in preparing their favorite foods, and to mindfully experience those foods with thoughts of gratitude toward these people. And another practice, Inspiring Climate Awareness Through Gratitude, invites students to reflect on their favorite part of nature and how climate change might affect this, and what they might be able to do to help as a form of gratitude towards nature. Most research seems to conclude that cultivating an appreciation for what you have is generally a good thing, while recognizing this may look different to everyone, especially cross-culturally. So when bringing gratitude practices into the classroom, listening to your students' own understandings of gratitude, providing students choice, and allowing them to opt out of practices they are not comfortable with, are all important for increasing the likelihood that gratitude practices will benefit as many students as possible. We have covered many examples in this presentation, but have also provided a rich collection of alternative practices and articles about gratitude for you to browse and consider for your classroom after the video. Thank you.